Hey everyone, my name is Taylor Sparks. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Integrating Materials and Manufacturing Innovation. In today's paper, we're going to talk about friction stir welding, about how to monitor that process in real time using ultrasonic testing. Now that's typically not something that you can do, but the way that lead author Luke Durell and his colleagues at Pacific Northwest National Lab approach it is by combining a machine learning process that's going to hopefully make that possible. Now, friction stir welding or friction stir processing is a pretty well-known technique at this point. It is a solid-state technique. It creates homogeneous, refined grain microstructures. It's obviously done by taking this rotating tool and you bring it in contact with something stationary, and then that friction is going to allow it to locally heat and join these materials together. And monitoring this with an inline sensing process is challenging, right? Because you've got high shear forces, you've got high temperatures. Anything that were to be in contact with this would get destroyed, and the workpiece is obstructed for the field of view of any non-contact sensors. So how do you monitor this? Well, the way that you could do it is you could stop it periodically, harvest that material to destructively look at the microstructure with something like EBSD, but that's not great. We would love something that is non-destructive that allows you to monitor it in real time. So ultrasound emerges as an interesting candidate. It's certainly been done to do these types of things before. If you're not familiar with it, essentially you're providing a pulse of an ultrasonic signal that when it hits a flaw is going to reflect back. And so you're essentially measuring the reflectance of these to look at the internal microstructure of a material. It's not without its challenges though. Obviously you've got things like temperature and deformation and the evolving microstructure itself, but it could be possible. For example, take a look here. This is showing the schematic with various locations of ultrasonic testing data collected on a sample as a function of depth, scan position, index location. And you can see in these sort of heat maps, this is the reflected ultrasonic signal, and then in this sort of zoomed in red box, you can see some sort of region of interest. So absolutely, you can characterize a material with ultrasonic data. Now, the question is whether or not machine learning can assist in this process. There's actually quite a bit of literature out there, right? They point out here that ML techniques have been used to predict or to classify weld quality, microstructure features. They were able to use it to classify cavities based off of amplitude and peak frequency of the echo signals. People have used random forest to classify weld joints based off of the wave features, neural networks, even complex neural networks to classify weld defects, on and on. But they point out here that to these authors' best knowledge, there are no case studies at the intersection of ML, this ultrasonic testing, non-destructive examination, and friction stir welding, demonstrating ML methods to predict the ultrasonic signal itself from different friction stir welded materials, and then statistically link that to the microstructure. In other words, think of it this way. If you can't collect the signal itself from the ultrasound and tie that to microstructure, what if you could predict the ultrasound signal from the processing conditions and then relate that to microstructure? That's what they're going to set out to do here. So it's a two-step ML statistical pipeline for predicting these signals and then using those inline processing parameters coupled to an extension to microstructure and ultimately things like property prediction for grain size, for example. Okay, so let's talk about the data they used here. It's an ML technique, you have to have data. So it's going to include some processing parameters, things like power, spindle torque, tool temperature rate, temperature as well, obviously. You've got other things like the microstructure. This is like the average circular equivalent diameter of the grains, which could be collected obviously with the gold standard approach of EBSD. And then you have the waveform itself from ultrasonic testing, right? So that is your shear wave mode collected from the friction stirred processed stainless steel plates. Here they did this. They were able to collect 29 different steel specimens with 11 different global process condition combinations shown here in table 1. For each specimen, they point out that the response ultrasonic testing signal could be sort of reduced in terms of feature space to an averaged oversample depth of wave penetration and scanned to obtain a mean absolute voltage per index. And that's produced with a specific set of global and local process parameters. Why that's important is because having a single parameter means that they're going to have something that can easily predict against with their future models. In the process, they were able to learn that not all processing parameters are created equal, obviously. Some are going to be more impactful on microstructure than others. For example, showing on the x-axis the percent increase in the MSE when a parameter was excluded. So this is an ablation study to figure out which parameters were important. They showed that the two most important parameters were tool temperature and spindle torque. not too surprising given what we know about friction stir welding as a process. Maybe the key takeaway figure for this is this figure number 7 here, where they're showing you log-log model fitted to the aggregated raw data, right, against the average of index level averages, right? And you can see that you can actually make a pretty high performing with this mean absolute value of this ultrasonic data against something like grain size. In B, they show you how you can extend that further. Now you have the dotted lines, which represent the 90% confidence intervals. And then in figure panel C, you can show how for some new material, you could take in its processing conditions, and that would correspond to a predicted MAV. And then from that predicted MAV, you could see what that would look like in terms of expected grain size, and that it matches the experimental uncertainty. So you're essentially skipping the ultrasound altogether because you're predicting what it would have done and doing it in a pretty effective way, which is, I think, pretty awesome here. I hope you'll check it out and read more about it in the latest issue of IMMI.